Dark Souls has always come off to me as some kind of like towering achievement as far as games are concerned. Like honestly, even when I compare it to classics like The Legend of Zelda, I always find myself preferring to just play Dark Souls, even though like Legend of Zelda and things were from my nostalgia years of being a child. And I'm not saying they're like bad games like The Legend of Zelda, it's just Dark Souls I feel like had the most depth to it as far as any game I've ever played. There was just so many nuances going on inside of the game. This mindset about like admiring like the inner nuances of a game is actually what led me to Dragon Nest. I wish I could explain the nuances of that one, but there's just so much going on, I don't even know where to begin with that. Putting aside Dragon Nest though, another thing that really led me into Dark Souls was the super interesting lore and the way it's presented to you. There isn't a story that you're just handed and then you go on some epic quest. You're just walking around, and along the way you just discover there's so much more to this place than you could ever fathom. Like, there's even places that are only mentioned, but like you never actually visit them, but they're real places. There are people that are affected by the events revolving around these places, sorry. And that really fills this world with like a life that you don't find in many other games. There are just things beyond your current realm that you reside in. The world isn't all about you. And then like when you finally like get through that, the game also presents itself with infinite replayability because of the invasion mechanic. You can always go through Dark Souls through sheer trial and error. As you go through the map, you're going to discover where enemies spawn, why and how, and what their moveset is. But with the implementation of an invading player, you can't predict a player's actions. You can try to, but you can never get a guaranteed result like you can with the NPCs. With players, there's a lot more going on in this game. There's more depth again. And then the balancing that goes into keeping those players on equal terms is pretty interesting too. Or was. But putting that aside, I'm noticing a recurring trend whenever like anything, pretty much any action game is released. Okay, look, we're just gonna look at the latest example of The Surge. Game review. The Surge is a sci-fi Dark Souls. The Surge is a sci-fi Souls game with a twist. Let's get something out of the way first. The Surge is... Yeah, just dumb shit like this. Everyone's always comparing shit to Souls. This one's especially weird because it's like coming from the like creator of the game. It's not even really controlled aggression. It's actually really fucking passive. You just kind of go in, get 2 hits in, hope for a stagger to keep going, and if not, you just back up. One thing I think of when it mentions controlled aggression would be the controlled aggression of Souls. When you get a parry, you can just go for an instant riposte, or you can capitalize on it by adding in an extra hit for the burrito combo. In the article I linked earlier, it shows that they're saying they advocate aggression because of their weird action bar, which lets you perform executions. But for some reason, I don't find that it doesn't really advocate fast play to me. I could just kill them by beating them in general. I don't exactly need the executions. I get that executions are like the way to pick up items in that game, but I don't know. It doesn't feel... Something just feels off about the whole scheme of it. The payoff in Bloodborne for playing aggressive is that you get your health back. And with health, it's basically a resource that gives you like extra hits that you can take, which lets you play more aggressively. This compounds with itself. Like, the good defensive option of getting rally back for playing aggressively is good to complement the aggressive style that you're already playing. In the Surge, the aggressive style gives you an execution, but the problem with that is the execution will take out an enemy, but in your aggressive style you might have made mistakes, you might have taken hits, and you have limited amounts of methods of healing. You're not gonna like get that health back properly. I did end up later finding like some sort of core power that lets you get health back per execution, but something just felt missing about it. Executions feel kind of shoehorned into that game. Like, I don't know why. They feel like they were made at the last minute just to like kind of like meet some sort of quota. It feels like it lacks depth. And I know it looks like I'm railing on this game too hard, but like it's not a bad game by all means. It really isn't, but something is really off-putting to me about how it compares itself as if it's Souls but in a different setting. I understand that I'm not that far into the Surge, but even like the beginnings of Dark Souls, there always felt like there was so much more going on. Like, you are thrown into a world with no idea, and like over the course of just wandering around, you meet people explaining all these situations to you. In comparison, the Surge just kind of feels shallow. I consider like the somber, melancholy tunes of like Dark Souls and like just the way the ambience hits you to be a core part of the gameplay. Everything feels like it's oppressively trying to strangle you. In comparison, the Surge is very like industrial and mechanical and kind of functions like a not oiled machine. It's very clunky and in your face about everything. That stems beyond just the environment as well into like just the gameplay itself. The Surge feels very rigid and stiff, which I guess kind of makes sense because your dude's in like a fucking biosuit that looks like it was made out of a discarded crane, but like, I don't know, it just feels unenjoyable. It's like I'm playing Dark Souls, but with more limitations. Everything feels significantly more committal than any of the attacks in Dark Souls. One of the best things you can do in Dark Souls is pick the most non-committal weapons, so that way you would have the most options to escape with. In this one, everything just feels extremely committal and really stiff. You're very boxed in. Looking at it like, as I've said, all that back there, that whole video, I'm gonna say that the Surge isn't very Souls-like, but it's honestly really fun. Is this what I get for speed running? Is this the con I pay? Don't even touch me, Sonic! You'll never catch me! It's a weapon to surpass Metal Gear! Just stepping very slowly. You will not escape me, Shadow. You can't escape me, Sonic. Pacha! Six sliding. Slide attack. Ow, more. Aw, shit. Boozled me. Alright. That's pretty cool. Not gonna lie. Hey guys, so yeah, that upload was probably pretty scatterbrained. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't write scripts. I just kind of talk and then say things and see how that goes. A lot of my information on the Surge might be wrong because I never got that far and stuff. But yeah, I feel like, you know, if you want to see more dumb shit like this, hit me up. I know a lot of you still private message for some reason. I haven't been checking that, so I have some that I haven't read for like 3 months. I'm pretty backed up on that. But yeah, you guys can keep doing that. I'll read them eventually. I still have requests to do from donations. This isn't really like a review. This is more of just an examination at the comparisons. Honestly, I really like both games. Although, admittedly, I totally prefer Souls more because the combat feels more fluid. But yeah, consider this more addressing the comparisons and like just kind of telling you that they do exist. But if you come in here expecting industrial Souls, you're not going to get it. Also, thank you everyone who donates like for no reason other than simply to donate. Friendly reminder is that if you do donate, you can make a request and I will get to it eventually. Keyword there, eventually, maybe. I'm kind of an idiot. I try to do it, but yeah. Thanks, guys. See ya.